Hi, everyone. Welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler, the debut edition. Week 1. Well, we're past week 1 now. We didn't get a chance to, because of the early start, we didn't get a chance to get the first weekend. But
that's okay. We'll make up for it.
Yeah, we'll make up for it. We have a lot more to go. We got a lot more to go.
And it gives you more time to actually study the film, because as we talked about it off there, most fans think the world is coming to an end when you lose.
Yeah. Now, is it? I mean, they lost to the world champs. Now, we also saw yesterday, we saw New England lost to Miami. The Bears lost at home at Buffalo. Indianapolis lost at Denver. Those fans are probably all saying their season's over too. So put the loss to Seattle in perspective.
And you have to, because I don't know if many people really picked the Packers to go there and beat Seattle. We get it as fans. You think they're going to go 19-0. We get that part. But realistically, if you look at the scope of the NFL already, that each week you're going to see 3 or 4 upsets. That could have been the Packers over Seattle. Could have been an upset. But that's why you have to look at this particular show to see why it didn't happen. But moreover, I think as fans, we understand that if they go 10-6, 11-5, I think they're going to be fine. But you also just don't want to see the same mistakes that you saw last year that caused you to be one and done from the playoffs.
Right, okay. And we saw some of those mistakes. Now, we also saw a twist on their defensive scheme that we hadn't seen before, which was a modified 4-3 defense, which I'm assuming they're doing that because they've got a different sort of type of player now. They've got all these so-called elephant end types. Tell me what you thought about the 4-3, and is that something to pursue? Did they struggle to just get through the first week of it? Will they get better at it as the season goes?
Well, I think the experiment was in training camp and OTAs. You figure it out, almost as if you're in a science lab. And you put these posters together to see if it works. Now you get to training camp, you just kind of throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks. Traditionally, the Packers use a lot of fronts, regardless of what they're called, but you have to look at the personnel. So if they're going to look at a 4-3, a traditional 4-3 look, where Peppers is your end, and say Mike Neal is your end, your 2 inside guys, Mike Dane and Dayton Jones, are you athletically better than last year? Maybe so. But now you have to say, how am I going to play Matthews? Sometimes you're going to play him on the line of scrimmage. Now it's called a 4-3 under defense, where Matthews is on the line of scrimmage. They line him up all over the place, which is good. But the problem is, as a trust issue, is I'm supposed to be in the B gap, my buddy's supposed to be in the A gap, there's a guy supposed to be in the C gap. Hence the Percy Harvin long runs, the Marshawn Lynch long runs. We're going to point some of those out of X and O.
We saw a lot of instances where the guys did not seem, the chemistry wasn't good. And whether that's because they're running it for the first week in live action being schemed against, which you got to give Seattle a lot of credit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They have a great game plan.
They had a fantastic game plan.
They outcoached the Packers in a big way.
Well, and see, that's where we disagree.
Okay.
And I like disagreeing with you because it makes me look smarter. See, I don't think any coach really outcoaches another, because I think they all put in the same hours. Here's where you're right, though. They design plays for a particular player to go attack a particular player. That way you're 100% right. And they design plays to execute on certain players. And the reason why you're also right is they did a lot of this stuff ahead of time, the history of what does Sam Shields like to do. Keeping the backfield. And we're going to draw that particular play up. So I kind of think the Packers coaches, they put in the same hours, but the synchronicity of the 2 inside linebackers, and you would think if we do this show for 10 years, the chemistry would be good. We would also feed off each other. But in the 2 middle linebackers, they got to step in unison. They can't cross each other. And that was last year. We'll show that again,
too. We'll show how.
Yeah, but that was last year. That should not be happening.
No, not at all. What was your impression of Ha Ha Clinton-Dix?
Well, I'll be very honest with you, and I'm going to keep this straight 100. That means honestly. I really liked it. because he showed me something I hadn't seen last year. The aggressiveness. I know he missed 3 tackles, maybe more, but he was aggressive to the ball. The closing speed he showed to get the sack on Russell Wilson. I don't think Russell Wilson even shot, something you pointed out. And we're going to also point out, it was one play, open field tackle. I don't know if many safeties would have made that play. But Tom, what he did is the aggressiveness of attacking.
He at least went for it.
Yeah, I mean, pull the trigger and cut it loose, and whatever happens, happen. Don't lay on the ground. He got up and chased.
Right.
So I think that's a building block. Now, the problem is Michael Hyde, Morgan Burnett, and him going to be pushing for playing time.
Yeah.
What do you do with Morgan Burnett?
I don't know, but I sure didn't see the same aggressiveness out of him that I saw out of Clinton-Dix.
And that's the reason why Clinton-Dix was a first-round pick, and you got to put him on the field. Because I'm going to tell you something. Clinton-Dix had to do one thing to improve his tackling, and we talked about this last year. Take one more step before you strike, and you will save so many missed tackles. Just take one more step.
Get a little closer.
Just get a little closer, because that guy has to come through you to get to the touchdown. Right. Remember that. And if the quarterback sees your name, it's normally not good. So if they can improve that, I think they'll be fine. But remember, they're coming off a season where no great plays by the safeties last year.
Okay. Talking about the offense, very interesting, if that's the word, approach by both Rodgers and McCarthy, which is not to test Richard Sherman whatsoever. We didn't see a single ball thrown over there. Good, bad, what do you think?
Well, I think I think the game plan wasn't aggressive enough than what we normally have seen. I would have liked to have seen Aaron Rodgers run the offense, not to a certain particular side and to avoid anybody. Just run your offense. Because as you pointed out watching film, the one pass he threw back across his body, 50 yards to Nelson, he actually could have got a touchdown to Devontae Adams or Richard Sherman.
Who stopped and gave up.
He just kind of just stopped, you know. So I would have went into the game and said, we're going to run our offense, because if he's a true shutdown corner, he will follow 87 all over the field. But he's not. He's left and right. So you know where he is. You can draw up plays, just like they did with Sam Shields, to work against him, his strength and his weaknesses. Spread them out, run your offense, who's ever open is going to get the ball. Jordy Nelson, 14 targets, caught 9 passes. He would have caught passes all over the field. But again, a true shutdown corner follows your best receiver. You don't just line up left and right. But that's kind of really cutting off one arm and going into a fist fight. You don't do that.
Here's another thing I thought of. So you go into the game and you're running no huddle offense. You decide you're going to run from the same formation practically the whole game. You just saw Seattle 6 months ago dismantle a no huddle offense doing the exact same thing. Why would you try to do the same thing against a defense that had just shown it can totally dismantle a no-huddle offense?
Well, they got a quarterback on the field, Earl Thomas, that really gets them lined up, and they also audible as a defense. If you substitute, they will too. The no-huddle offense is the Packers' offense. That's their offense.
Right.
So my thing is you have to stay balanced, though. You have to stay balanced. Run the ball just to get the respect of the secondary, not the front seven, the secondary. If the secondary are making tackles, now the play action opens up. And now you can move your guys around a little bit. Because remember, Jeremy Lane went out, the third corner, with a groin pull. Work that guy. The next guy up is the fourth guy. I think it might have been a rookie or first, second guy. You work over that guy in the slot. That makes sense. But even after that, you continue to just put pressure on that defense, because that defense had opportunities to give up for the Packers. They just didn't execute. I think that made when Lacey went out, things got a little out of hand. But Starks is a very capable running back.
It's hard because they keep their safety up at the line of scrimmage all the time, and they don't even hide it. Because they know Earl Thomas can cover from sideline to sideline, and this guy's going to stay there and he's going to stop the run.
And Chancellor's a big guy.
He's a big fast
guy.
He's
got to put Lacey out.
Another thing that occurred to me too was, why didn't the Packers try Sean Richardson a little bit when they couldn't stop the run? Why not go with a bigger run stop and safety?
Well, I think they'll probably use him more. He had a great camp, by the way. But who are you going to take out?
Well, if Marshawn Lynch is running for, 100 and whatever yards, I'm going to throw him in there for a series. And
okay, who are you going to take out?
Hyde.
So you take Hyde out?
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's the guy who's playing in the box most often,
Yeah.
So, anyway, just a thought.
Let me ponder that.
Okay.
Let me, Christian, ponder that.
All right, think about that.
3-4 weeks down the road, I'll tell you why.
Quick, give us a scouting report on the Jets.
Jets, big physical team. Got a second-year quarterback, Geno Smith. A lot of opportunities for interceptions this week. They got Chris Johnson there, come from Tennessee, had a pretty good game. They're going to run the football. Their coach is a physical, in his mentality, I'm a physical team. Run the football and try to play defense. The Jets secondary, there's some opportunities there.
Yeah.
So I expect the Packers to bounce back, but they can't give up 200 yards. If you're giving up 200 yards a week, I don't even know if you can even think Super Bowl.
Yeah. You'd be lucky to be 500, so
well,
up
they'll be
200
better.
a week.
I picked them to be 10-6, so they're going to lose some games. No big deal.
Right.
But don't panic, people. No big deal.
Okay, final word from LeRoy Butler.
Yeah.
Please join us for X's and O's. We've got a lot to go through from that game and some pretty interesting stuff. So we will see you next week on 5 Questions.